Hi everyone, it's Crellin here with a demonstration video of my FPL Transfer Planner spreadsheet, which I've just finished updating ahead of the 2021-2022 season. If you request a copy of my spreadsheet during the pre-season, then you'll get a blank version with space to enter your Game Week 1 team in these top 15 rows, and you can continue editing your team here until the Game Week 1 deadline. If you request a copy of my sheet during the season, then it will come with your team already entered and your budget set up correctly. Then you can start planning transfers. There are a few features of my spreadsheet that should help you to make better transfer decisions. So firstly, the fixtures are formatted based on difficulty ratings, with the easiest fixtures being dark green and the toughest fixtures being dark red. I do offer a version where the tough fixtures are blue instead of red, which is better for colourblind people like me. So the ratings are on this team ratings page. I've rated every team from 1 to 7 for their home and away offensive rating and their home and away defensive ratings. I'll just move it to the side to show you how it works. So for this difference formatting, the fixtures are formatted based on the difference between the two teams' rating. For example, Salah playing Burnley at home is the easiest possible fixture in Game Week 2 because Liverpool's attacking rating at home is 1 and Burnley's defensive rating away from home is 7. But the Liverpool defenders fixture of Burnley at home in Game Week 2 is a lighter shade of green than Salah's, and this is because Burnley's away attacking rating is a 6 out of 7. At the top of the page, you can see the fixtures for all 20 teams. If you choose offensive in this drop-down box, you'll see the schedules that will be used for your attackers and midfielders rows. It's formatted based on the difference between this team's offensive ratings and their opponent's defensive ratings. You can also see the defensive schedule, which will populate your defenders and goalkeepers rows, which obviously shows you the difference between this team's defensive rating and their opponent's offensive rating. If you click average, you'll just see the average of the two. There is a simpler version of the schedule. If you just select opponent, the schedule is formatted just based on the opponent's rating. So a fixture of Newcastle at home for Aston Villa is the same colour as Newcastle at home for Man United. I prefer to use the difference formatting because when planning captain picks, I want to target the fixtures where the best teams play the worst teams. My ratings on the team ratings page are updated roughly every 3 to 4 weeks. But if you disagree with any of my ratings and want to edit them, you can go to custom ratings up here and then change the numbers that you disagree with. So let's say you're a big Man United fan and you think they're the best team in the league. You change their away attacking rating to 1 and their defensive ratings to 1 as well. And you can see the schedule changes slightly here. So before you plan transfers, you might want to plan your captain picks and sub picks in each game week. So let's say in Game Week 2, I want to captain Salah. I would enter his ID number from this column here into the captain ID box for Game Week 2. So his ID is 8. And then his fixture becomes bold and underlined here. And the sub IDs would be Steele as my sub goalkeeper, ID 2. Then Reed is ID 7. And Gilmore and Moder 11 and 12. And you can see the team preview section updates. You can use this to see your starting 11 in future weeks. But this section becomes more useful when you make long transfer plans in future weeks. To make transfers, to plan transfers, you enter new players in the rows below your team. There's space for lots of new transfers down here. So let's say in game week 3, I wanted to change from a back 4 to a 3-4-3 formation by downgrading Robertson. So to transfer him out, I enter 3 into his game week out column. And let's say I want to transfer out Moda as well. Enter 3 into his game week out column. And then to pick their replacements, in the rows, the empty rows below their team, I would put a 3 into the game week in columns. And then I want a midfielder. So in the position column, I select M and a defender. I can also just type in D. And then the budget shows me I've got 11.5 to spend on their replacements. So let's say I scroll up to see which teams have good fixtures. I can see that Man United have good fixtures from game week 3. So let's say I want a Man United player. I can type in their abbreviation to see all the Man United midfielders listed by price. Let's say I want Greenwood. Now in this drop-down column you can also see all the players listed by price by doing that. But let's say I've got 4.0 to spend, so I want to see all the 4.0 price players. I type that in there and then I can pick a 4.0 who I think is likely to start. Let's quickly plan my captains and subs in that week. Let's say it's Fernandez, and I'm benching Steele again, and Reed, and Manquillo, and Gilmore. So the prices will always be updated on your spreadsheet. This is a demo, so I can edit the prices manually on this one, imagining what would happen. So let's say Greenwood rises to 7.6 during game week 2, meaning I'd no longer be able to afford him in game week 3. So to change a planned transfer, if I want to select a different midfielder, I can press delete on Greenwood's column and then see the listed players here. If I know which player I want to pick, I can just type their name in until they appear. And let's say I want Pogba instead. You can see the formatting on the transfers row shows the pale orange formatting means that I'm using my 3 transfers. If I were to enter another transfer, which would mean I'd be taking a hit, it would show a red formatting. To remove a planned transfer completely, you first of all click on their player team CP column and press delete. Then you delete the goalkeeper from that column and the 3 from that column, and then you remove the game week out from there. There's also a watch list feature, so you can add players who you just want to keep an eye on by selecting the eye emoji. Let's say I want to keep an eye on Aubameyang's fixtures, and say I might want to transfer him in from game week 4 because he's got Chelsea and Man City in game weeks 2 and 3. I can just show his fixtures. And then if I want to make that an actual transfer, I can remove the watch list. I can remove the eye emoji from the watch list by pressing delete there. And it shows that I need to free up 10.0 to afford him. So let's just say I got rid of Antonio and also downgraded Salah and took a hit, so I'd enter 4 and M. Then I've got 10 to spend, so I look up here. I can keep that there and keep scrolling up and looking at the fixtures. You can see that Tottenham have Watford at home, so we could go for Son. If you want to make your spreadsheet look a bit neater, you can drag your planned transfers up to the correct position group. So if you wanted to drag Manquillo up to the rest of the defenders, you click on his row number on the left hand side of the page, and when you get the hand symbol, you click and hold your mouse down and drag him up to the correct position and then let go. I'll do that for Pogba, because he's replacing Moda, and Son is replacing Salah. You can see that there's a countdown timer. So in this demo video, we're in game week 2, and it's just over 3 days until the game week 2 deadline. But I'll fast forward the clock, so we enter game week 3, and I'll show you what happens. So this will happen automatically on your spreadsheet every time a deadline passes. Your spreadsheet will update, and the column for the game week that's just gone will be grayed out. So first thing you need to do is hide the grayed out column. So to do that, you click on the column letter at the top of the page here, and you right click and select hide column. Be careful to never delete columns, because that'll break your spreadsheet. So you hide the column, and you'll notice that the planned transfers that you've planned in game week 3 are now highlighted in yellow for the selling prices for the players you're transferring out and the purchase prices for the players that you're transferring in. So you now need to follow the confirming transfers instructions if you were to make these transfers on the FPL website. So let's say on the FPL website you actually sell Robertson for 7.0. It's best to visit your spreadsheet on the same day as you make the transfers, and you need to manually enter the correct selling price into this SP column. You'll see there's a formula here. You need to make sure there's not a formula, and it's just a manual number. So I enter 7, and his row becomes grayed out. And then if I've bought Manquillo for 4.0, I manually enter 4 into there, and his game week in number will become grey. I'll do that again for Moda. If you want to, you can press delete there first and then enter his correct price. But it's easier just to click on the cell and enter the correct price. So I bought Pogba for 7.5, enter 7.5. And the number disappears just to make it clearer to see planned transfers. So you now want to hide the rows of the players that you just transferred out. So to do that, you right click on the row number on the left hand side of the page and select hide row. Again for Moda, select hide row. If you forget to update your spreadsheet for a couple of weeks and come back to a picture like this where we've gone into game week 5 and a couple of columns have been grayed out and you've got red text, this means you need to make sure you've entered your transfers correctly from the previous week. So let's say you did sell Salah for 12.5, but Son has gone up a couple of times since you bought him, and you actually bought him for 10.0. And you bought Aubameyang for 10.0. And let's say that you decided not to sell Antonio, So you delete the 4 from there, and you actually sold Watkins instead before his price dropped to 7.4. So you put 7.5 into there and put the 4 there. And again, hide the rows. And to hide more than one column at the same time, you click on the column letter and then hold down the Shift key, click on the other column letter, and then right click, press hide columns. Looking further along the schedule, you can see that Chelsea's fixtures in game week 17 and 18 are blue. Now if you have a look at the key, the light blue formatting means they're potential blanks. Just move the key to the right of the page. So I think they'll become blanks due to Chelsea's participation in the Club World Cup. I've also added potential blank in game week 27, which I think will happen possibly because of the EFL Cup final. And game week 30 will definitely be a blank game week due to the FA Cup quarterfinals. I've also added space for double game week fixtures in game week 36, because that's the only game week which I know for sure will be a double game week, but there will be other double game weeks throughout the season. So if and when the Chelsea's fixtures in game week 17 and 18 become blanks, I will then update the schedule that's exported to your spreadsheet, and then it'll be updated like that. And if I predict that one of those fixtures will move to game week 21, I will then update the schedule to show game week 21 as a potential double game week with Chelsea versus Everton added. You can see that the fixtures don't fit in the column, so to expand the column you can go up to the dividing line between AQ and AR up here and double click. And then if those fixtures are confirmed as double game week fixtures, I will update the schedule again and they'll become bright yellow on your spreadsheet. Another feature of the spreadsheet is the ability to make notes. So there's space for general notes on the left-hand side of the page. But if you want to make notes for specific teams or players, you can unhide column R here and enter notes here. So you could say and then you can enter notes for players down here. And then if you hide the column again, you can see that you've got a note on Aston Villa. You've got the ability to show a certain number of game weeks in the future. So if you just wanted to see the next 3 game weeks like that. And you can also plan your wildcard teams with these extra tabs. So let's say you wanted to wildcard in game week 8. You've got the show next 3 game weeks up to game week 7. Then you go to your wildcard 1 team page and you put wildcard game week 8 into that box there. Then all those columns will be grayed out up to game week 8. You can hide them again in one go, like I showed you before, by clicking and holding Shift and then clicking on the far column letter, clicking hide columns. Then you can plan your wildcard team. First of all, you want to go to your original team page and select the players that you want to keep from your original team. So let's say I just want to keep Alexander-Arnold and Aubameyang. If you just go to that extra column and click on the drop down box and select WC, that will carry their names and their purchase prices over to the wildcard 1 page, and you can select their names in the player team CP column by double clicking or by just dropping down and selecting. And I'll quickly fill in the rest of the players for a potential wildcard team, you'll notice that as I'm typing in players, the average player price will decrease or will change as I'm entering new players. I'm going to go for Diaz and Tierney. I'm going to go Havertz, Rafinha, Ings, and I'm going to see that I've got 4.6 to spend, so I'll have a look at the 4.5 forwards, and I'll go for Ludulu. If I change my mind on my wildcard team and decided I wanted a different player, I could just go down and pick someone else. But for the players who have been carried over, so Aubameyang and Alexander-Arnold, you change them by removing them from this extra column on your original team page, and then clicking on their player team's P column on the wildcard page and pressing delete. So I'll just imagine I wanted to shift to a different formation and upgrade Bissouma to De Bruyne. I need to free up another 1.9. Downgrade Foden to Torres, and downgrade James to 4.5. I'll scroll down and choose Holgate. I'll now fast forward the clock to game week 8 and show you what you need to do during the week when you've got your wildcard active. So let's say in this spreadsheet, Barnes' price has risen to 7.6, so you might decide you actually want to keep him. But you've already got a full planned team on your wildcard 1 page. So if you select Barnes, he'll carry over to the top of your midfielders and overwrite Salah's row. So I would now delete Salah and maybe re-enter him in Torres' row. And then during the week of game week 8, if you activate your wildcard, if one of your players in your original team's price is going to drop, then if you transfer them out on the FPL website before their price drops, let's say it's Calvert-Lewin, you would just enter their selling price. This keeps your budget accurate on your wildcard page. And then if one of the players in your team is about to rise in your planned wildcard team and you buy him, let's say it's Ings is about to rise to 8.1, so you buy him on the FPL website, you can just enter his price. And then if your budget ever becomes inaccurate, you can always edit it by adding 0.1 or however much you want to add or take away in this cell up here. I'll just fast forward it into game week 9. So when it goes to the week after you've activated your wildcard, you'll see that you need to enter your correct purchase prices in the PP column. Make sure your team is correct and entered properly. You can go to your transfers page and click on the list view and make sure the PP column matches the PP values on your spreadsheet. So the red text in the PP column means you need to manually enter the values. So the best way to enter them all in one go is to click on the bottom one, hold down the shift key, click on the top one, press copy, and then right click on the top one again, go to paste special, paste values only. Now you've got the prices entered manually, and again make sure they're all the correct prices, and you can always change anyone that's wrong. So when you start with your wildcard team in the following game week, just make sure the budget is correct and all your prices are correct. And these little red triangles, you can ignore them, but if you want to get rid of them, you can go down and double click and click on the abbreviated version. I'll do that like that. Okay, and then go to your original team and make sure that these SP values are all locked in. Otherwise the budget will keep changing as these prices change. So again, you click on the top SP value on your original team page, you hold down the shift key and you click on the bottom one, you press copy, you right click on the top, go to paste special, paste values only, and that'll grey out your original team, and then you can forget about that page and just right click and click hide sheet. And now you should use your Wildcard 1 team page as your main page going forward until you activate your second wildcard. You can see on the Wildcard 2 page it starts in game week 21 because that's the first week which you'll be able to wildcard. There's also a free hit cell, so if you wanted to free hit, for example, in game week 17, you could just do that and then game week 17 would become greyed out. If you wanted to make multiple plans, you can right click on your page and click duplicate, and that'll create a copy. It might take a while to load because it's there's a lot of formulas in the page. You can rename it if you want to call it something different, and then you can create another plan here. But the formulas, the budget formulas on your Wildcard 2 page will only link to your original Wildcard 1 page. So it's best to go with whichever plan you continue with on your original Wildcard 1 page or your original page. The spreadsheet is a Google sheet. It doesn't work on Excel. You'll have a unique link to your spreadsheet, and any changes that you make will be saved automatically. Save to drive there. And if you keep a copy of the link, the next time you visit it, all the changes will be saved from the last time. So it's best to bookmark the page or add it to your home screen. If you make a mistake on your spreadsheet, for example, you enter some text in the schedule section and it makes the import break, you can undo that by pressing Ctrl-Z or the undo symbol. You can do that with a broken row as well. Obviously, you can just press Ctrl-Z to fix it. But if a row becomes so broken that you can't fix it, as a last resort, you can delete the row by right-clicking on the row number, pressing delete, and I could quickly enter the play again. But you should avoid deleting rows because there's only a total of 75 rows on each page of your spreadsheet, and you could run out of them if you delete them and make a lot of transfers. If you make an error that you can't fix, then you can email me and I'll fix your spreadsheet for you, because I will have access to your spreadsheet. It'll just be me and you as the only people who have access, and I'll visit it just to make fixes or repairs if I need to. I think that's everything for the instructions. A spreadsheet is exclusively available to Fantasy Football Hub users. I'll put the link to this page in the description box of this video. If you remember, you'll find the instructions to request a copy at the bottom of this page. I'll also put the link for the membership options on a Fantasy Football Hub. If you would like to request a copy for the next season after the current season ends, then you can send me a new request for the updated version of my spreadsheet as soon as the Game Week 38 deadline has passed. I hope you find it useful if you do get a copy. I think my FPL performance has improved in the 3 years that I've been using it. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.